Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of Neil Adil, featuring Neil Adil himself. And we're going around the world this time. I think we're going over to Russia for one of their great light heavyweights, Artur Beterbiev. And what do you got for us tonight, Neil?
Hey, good evening, Graham. Thanks for having me out again. Really appreciate it as usual. I'd talk about a guy from Russia. There's a reason for this one, and you'll see in a minute because it's kind of interesting what I found out about him in the last little while, and I was saving him up for a bit. But he's got a big fight probably coming up this year. Later on this year, he just had a fight, but he's going to be moving forward this year. Big fight. So let's talk about him. His name is Artur Beterbiev. All right. He was born January 21st, 1985, which makes him 36 years old. So he's no youngster by any means, but I'll tell you, this guy is an absolute beast, Graham, an absolute monster in the ring. All the fights that I've seen him in, he basically just tears people apart. He's probably one of my super favorite fighters going right now, and I really am looking forward to his upcoming fights. So we'll talk about him a little more. He was born in Kazakhstan, Russia. All right, so he was born in Russia. And apparently he's of Chechen descent, his parents were. He fights in the light heavyweight division, and he started his pro career in 2013, and he is presently an active fighter. Now, the interesting thing that I found out, and I heard a little rumbling about this a little while ago, is he actually lives and resides in Montreal, Canada. So he fights out of Montreal, Canada, as we speak. So that's fantastic, and I'm like, right on. This guy's like my new hero. He's fighting for Canada now. This is awesome, and he's well, as you're going to see, he is out of control. This guy, and anytime he fights, he's just knocking everybody out. So apparently, he moved to Montreal in 2013 and started his pro career. So his whole amateur career, he fought in Russia and represented Russia as an amateur. But then in 2013, he came to Canada, and he lives in Montreal. And he's trained by Russ Anber, our old buddy Russ Anber, which is interesting. I believe he's the cut man. And so that's really cool that these guys are helping him out and moving him on his way. So he's currently ranked number 1. All right, Graham? Number 1 best active light heavyweight in the world by Ring Magazine, and he's ranked number 3 by BoxRec. In my opinion, this guy's unbeatable. I think that he could go a long way. It's going to depend on the next few fights, obviously, because he's a world champion right now, and he's coming up against some really stiff competition now. But he's all in for it. And that's what I like about him. He's not ducking and running nobody. He wants to fight everybody and anybody. He's not scared of anything, and I really like this guy. So he currently holds the unified IBF and WBC light heavyweight titles. So he's got 2 belts right now, and he's been known in his fights. If you guys watch any of his fights are amazing. There's not one, you can just watch any of them, and they're fantastic. He has amazing punching power in both hands, Graham. He's a big guy, he's a big guy, and his punching power is unbelievable. Both hands. He can knock him out with both hands. He's a very aggressive fighter who applies a lot of pressure at times against his opponents. And he's basically all over them. He smothers them, and he throws punches from all angles all the time in multiple combinations. He's got great combination throw. He's got great hand speed, and he loves the inside fighting, Graham. A lot of his fights, I've noticed, he pushes himself inside, and he actually can knock guys out with those really small, super hard uppercut, rabbit punch, kind of real quick inside punches. He gets right in there, throws to the body, and then his blows. When you don't have any room between your opponent and the guy's right in your face, and he's throwing. Apparently, some of the guys that have sparred with him have also said he's the hardest hitter they've ever experienced. It's like getting hit by a car. That's what they've said. You get hit by him, and this isn't sparring. So imagine if he's like, if you're trying to fight him in the ring. So he's been just tearing up everybody, literally. So his amateur career is unbelievable. Now, they don't have an exact number, but apparently he had 300 amateur fights, Graham, in Russia. 300, and he won 295 of those fights with 5 losses. But there's some fights that weren't really put on the schedule. It could be a little more than 300, but with 300 amateur fights and only 5 losses, you can imagine, right? He won a bunch of medals and stuff for his country back in his amateur career. In 2006, he won the gold medal at the European Championships. In 2007, he won a silver medal at the World Championships. In 2009, he won a gold medal at the World Championships. So he stepped up his game the next year. And then again, he won a gold medal in 2009 at the European Championship. So he just keeps getting better. Gold. He's moving up, right? He also competed in the 2008 and 2012 Olympics for Russia. And I don't believe he medaled, but he was right there at the end, quarterfinals, somewhere in there. You know what I mean? So he's beat some real good amateurs, like guys over the years that he's had to fight. He beat Sergey Kovalev when he was an amateur. He beat Oleksandr Usyk when he was an amateur. So he's been fighting these guys basically growing up, you know, the whole time, and he was beating them as amateurs, and now they're all coming face to face with him in the pros, and he's doing the job. So his pro totals, he's had 16 bouts to date. He has 16 wins with 16 knockouts. So there you go. He's the only world champion to have a perfect KO record. He's 16-0 with 16 knockouts. So that's pretty good. You know, he doesn't take any prisoners, that's for sure. And he began his pro career kind of late. He was 28 years old when he turned pro in 2013. So since then, he's just been on a tear. That people are scared of him, and I can see why. Watch his fights, and you'll understand why you'd be scared of him. So originally, he won his first 5 bouts as a pro, and then in 2014, he won the NABA light heavyweight title. He had a spectacular KO over a former champion, IBF former champion, Tavoris Cloud. That's a great fight to watch. He even said that was one of his toughest fights to date, and that was back in 2014. So that was his first time he won a title. Then in 2014, in December, he won the North American and NABO light heavyweight titles. He moved up the ladder there in June 2015. He won the WBO International light heavyweight title, meaning now he has 3 or 4 minor titles. They're not major titles, not world titles, but they're titles in themselves. But then he starts getting a lot of recognition, and people start looking out for this guy. Then he had some issues between 2016 and 17 into 18, more or less. It was kind of back and forth. He had a number of title eliminator fights that he was supposed to be involved in, and they kind of fell through. So he had a period of inactivity there. He also had a dispute with his promotional company at the time, but he's rectified that, and I believe he's fighting under Bob Arum's top rank at ESPN now. So finally, after the announcement that Andre Ward was going to retire from the light heavyweight division and relinquish the belt, he got his chance to win a title. And in November 2017, he was given the chance to fight for that vacant IBF world title, and he won with a 12-round KO over a German guy named Enrico Colling. Okay, Enrico Colling, that's another fight that you might want to check out. Where in that fight, Graham, I couldn't believe it. I was watching it, and he basically overwhelmed the guy, but he threw in the fight 1,111 punches. 1,111 punches. 1,111 punches in one fight. So you can imagine trying to be at the other end of that, right? And apparently when you get hit by him, it's like getting hit by a car. So that guy must have been probably the toughest German you'll ever meet, you know, to be able to go 12 rounds with that happening. But he ended up winning the title. Then in October 2019, the biggest fight to date, he fought the WBC champion, Oleksandr Govzvedic. Gosvedink, winning. He won that fight. That was pretty recent, October 2019. He won that fight by TKO in the 10th round, and that made it unified. So now he has the 2 titles. In the most recent fight that he's had was just recent, Graham, was March 20th, 2021, and he fought another German fighter named Adam Deans, and he won by TKO in the 10th round, retaining the WBC and the IBF titles. Now, it was interesting, too, when I looked at his career overall, 9 out of his first 10 pro bouts were fought in Quebec, basically in Montreal. 8 of them were in Montreal at the Bell Center and this and that. So he came through the Canadian ranks, which is really cool. And then the next couple of fights, obviously he got better and better. They brought him to the States, and he's had 3 or 4 fights in the States. And the most recent fight he had was fought in Moscow, in Russia. So that was back in the old country. So I'm sure he was very proud of that, winning in front of the Russian fans, you know. Did you see any of those fights? Have you seen him fight, Grant? A little bit.
I was able to watch the highlights of the last fight he had.
Yeah.
But I haven't been following his career.
No. Well, like I say,
I'm going to look up from now for sure.
Oh man, this guy, I'm telling you, he could possibly be the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. In my mind, he's in the top 5 for sure. No doubt about it. So he's getting a lot of recognition now, right? And everybody's basically scared of him, I think, because he's knocked out everybody that he's been involved in, any fights that he's been in, right?
Well, as you and I both know, the heavyweight division is really crammed up right now. There's an awful lot of guys waiting for the dust to settle and the Battle of Britain. When that ends, there's at least a dozen guys names we can rhyme off right now competing for the heavyweight title. They want to compete for the heavyweight titles.
Well, he'd have to gain weight to get into heavyweight. He fights basically in light heavyweight, right? Just below light heavyweight. That's what I'm saying.
So he's probably great in that division. And wants probably to stay in that division and literally own it. He wants to own it, I'll bet, because the heavyweight division right now is just crowded. It's really crowded.
Yeah, it really is.
So good for him. So I'm looking forward to his next fight for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him fight again. Now, there's a few options for him after winning his last fight there just here in March, just passed. There's an upcoming fight March 10th on ESPN. That's Joe Smith Jr. against Maxim. Sorry,
March 10th.
April. Oh, did I? Sorry, April 10th. April 10th on ESPN.
Like this Saturday.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, Joe Smith Jr. and Maxim Valasov. It's for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title. So the winner of that, Joe Smith Jr. and Valasov, could be an opponent for him. The other guys that they've been looking at, there's another fight May 1st. We all know about that one, 2021 on DAZN. And on the undercard, it is a title fight. It'll be Dmitry Bivol, who is also a Russian fighter, and against Craig Richards. And Bivol is the WBA light heavyweight champion. So that could be interesting, having basically 2 Russian guys fighting it out. And I understand they don't like each other very much. So that could be another one. If Bivol ends up winning, then maybe Beterbiev will end up fighting him. You know what I mean? Like that could be another thing. Now, the other kind of thing at the end of the rainbow is there's always, again, Canelo, right? So he's also explained that he'd be interested in fighting Canelo. And you never know. Like that could go down in the near future as well. If Canelo decides to move back up, I mean, he did beat Sergey Kovalev, right? And I believe he has the title there, the WBO title or something. Canelo, light heavyweight title, and he could move up and again gain a bit of weight and fight him. But honestly, I don't think that's in Canelo's best interests. Honestly, because this guy's a pure 175er. I don't know. He's a beast. He's a monster. He's whatever you want to call it. But anybody who they put him up against, I can almost guarantee is going to be a great fight. You know, any way you slice it, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, guys, for sure, you got to check out this guy. He's from Montreal, Canada. He's one of the boys, Artur Beterbiev. See, they were calling him Beterbiev, and I found out it's Beterbiev. So that's how it is, Artur Beterbiev. And he honestly, check him out. He could be the best pound per pound fighter in the world. He could be coming up like right across the board, take all the belts, you know. So these next couple of fights, like we just talked about, will determine probably who he's going to fight next. So let's keep our eyes out for him.
Right on.
So thanks a lot, guys, for coming out. I really appreciate it. And thanks for the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, the comments. Everything's been going great. And keep an eye out for him. Artur Beterbiev. And he is awesome. Beterbiev. That's it. You know? Beterbiev. Yeah, Mr. Artur Beterbiev. He's an awesome fighter, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his upcoming fight. So thanks a lot for coming tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Friday, Graham, I guess 6:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Correct.
Right on. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Graham. Take care. You guys have a great evening. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.